Alright guys, so this is part 4 of my birth plan packet that I had created for Silas. This is the things that I packed in my hospital bag. This is my hospital bag list checklist thing for not only myself, but for Silas and my husband. So, I was going to bring 2 labor and delivery gowns. Excuse me. I brought one. And I put that on after I gave birth. So I could, because he was in the NICU, I wore that back and forth from the hospital room to the NICU. It was very easy because it unbuttoned here, so I could even though I didn't end up needing to breastfeed him, but it was very convenient. But I only brought one, and I really probably, honestly, I'm glad I brought that. That is something that I'm going to pack in my hospital bags in the future. Granny panties. Yes, I packed granny panties. But realistically, if you have a normal birth, of course births aren't really normal, but if you're not having to stay at the hospital for 5 weeks, you probably don't need to pack any panties. Most hospitals provide you with the really big mesh panties that are so comfortable, by the way. So you probably don't need those. I'm glad I packed them though, because he was so early and we ended up staying down. In the area he was born in, which is about an hour away from where we live, for 5 weeks at a hotel. So a spray bottle with water, and this was to cool me off. I didn't end up packing that. Honestly, I wish that I had, because when I started pushing, I was having extremely, really bad hot flashes, and I was sweating and I couldn't catch my breath. So that I wish I did actually pack. Thick socks. I don't know why I put thick socks on here, because the hospital provides you with those little grippy socks that are really comfortable. I think I put thick socks on there because hospitals tend to be cold, but you know, slippers with backs. So the reason why I put slippers with backs is because I didn't want to be walking through the hospital in flip-flops or tennis shoes or just socks. I wanted something firm on the bottom that was also comfortable, and I wanted the ones that had backs on them because, after you've given birth, whether it's a C-section or vaginal, you're going to be walking kind of weird, and the chances of if you're wearing slippers that don't have backs on them, the chances of them flying off your foot and we've all had it happen. So look for slippers with backs. Those were I loved having those. Baby oil. I put baby oil on here so that way Forrest could use it to massage me when I was in labor to try and alleviate that pain. We didn't end up bringing it, and it's probably because, I probably will put it in my hospital bag the next time, because hopefully next time I have a normal birth where my child comes on time. Cardstock for footprints. The hospital provided us with his footprints, and most hospitals do, but that is a good thing to do. Why not bring it just in case? I'll probably add it in my next hospital bag because, who knows? And that was all for delivery. So for post-delivery and recovery, I put an eye mask, eye mask and earplugs, basically so I could sleep in the hospital room, because you know how, it's extremely hard to sleep and get rest when people are walking in and out of your room and the lights are on. It's very rare that the hospital room that you're in is just completely pitch black. You've got monitors going off, you've got people walking in and out every 30 minutes, so those would have been, I didn't end up bringing those, and now that I think about it, I probably wouldn't have used them, to be honest with you. I wasn't in the hospital for very long. Heavy duty maternity pads. The only reason that I would do the heavy duty maternity pads is if I was going to make pad sickles, and I actually printed out how to put the pad sickles, and basically the pad sickles is witch hazel and aloe, and you freeze them, and you put the witch hazel and the aloe on the pad, and then you freeze them, and that helps with the pain if you end up tearing, or even just a regular vaginal delivery without tearing. Otherwise, the hospital should provide you with enough pads. The hospital provided me with they were like this long, and they were like this thick. So the only reason I would recommend putting maternity pads in there is if you're going to make them into padsicles. A quilt. Now, I put a quilt on here because hospital rooms are very cold, and normally after you give birth, it's sometimes really hard to stay warm, especially when you get the shakes. And sometimes hospitals don't provide you with enough blankets, and also if there's a pull-out couch in the room with you, and your husband wants to sleep the whole time, he can have a blanket. Let's just make him as comfortable as possible, right? A long sleeve loose shirt. Obviously you want it loose, so if you need to breastfeed, you can easily lift it up or whatever. It's comfortable. Plus, if you get a C-section, you don't want anything like, you don't want anything putting pressure on that wound. That's going to be really uncomfortable. But this is basically just to keep you warm. Loose-fitting sweatpants. So if you could find like a pair of leggings or yoga pants that aren't really tight around the waist, those would be perfect. But I picked out like joggers that have the drawstring, and I picked out a size that was like a couple sizes too big, so that way I could adjust the drawstring. A recovery belly wrap, and I didn't end up needing to get a belly wrap. I think that's just something for some people want to immediately start recovering, but a lot of the times, especially the hospital I went to, after I had my child, they sat there and they pounded my uterus back down to its normal size. I got up and my stomach was completely flat. It looked like it did before I got pregnant. Now, it didn't stay that way because obviously I was bloated afterwards, but they pounded my uterus down and they had Pitocin in my line to help me contract so my uterus would go back down to size. But that's what those recovery belly wraps are for. They can be really helpful for C-sections, but I know I can imagine it would probably be very uncomfortable to put on after you've had that sort of surgery. So I probably could cross the belly wrap off my list for the next time. So for nursing, I put bag balm or nipple cream. That's a given. They don't, well, you know, the hospital actually provided me with that. So even though I brought the bag balm, I didn't end up needing to use it. The hospital provided me with the stuff in the purple bottle. I forgot the brand. They provided me with that stuff. Nursing bras. You do want nursing bras. The hospital does not provide you with nursing bras. Even if it's like a nursing bralette, that's nice. They don't provide you with breast pads, so breast pads are good because you will start to leak. A lot of hospitals do provide you with a breast pump because there is a lactation consultant on site. You can always bring your breast pump with you and leave it in the car, but the chances of you actually needing the breast pump are slim. Bottles. If for some reason they need bottles, they usually will provide you with bottles, but you can also bring some. We didn't bring bottles. We didn't bring my breast pump. We didn't bring my nursing pillow. Actually, I think we had the nursing pillow in the car and we just didn't end up using it. Stop, Silas. He's still eating his food. He takes forever. So toiletries. Toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, face wash and sponge, travel size shampoo and conditioner, soap, a loofah, hair tie, bobby pins, and a headband. And the reason for that is like, if you have a lot of hair, which I don't, this is obviously a wig, but at the time I had enough hair to put back in a ponytail. That would be really convenient during birth because you don't want hair in your face. It's hot. Foundation, blush, and mascara. Now that sounds really ridiculous, but like if you're stuck in the hospital for a few days, a lot of women want to feel pretty. So at least some foundation or some mascara. And flip-flops can be used for shower shoes. But all the toiletries are pretty self-explanatory. You're going to be in the hospital for at least one night, and most of the time they let you take a shower. You don't want, I mean, you can use the stuff they provide you, but I would feel more comfortable bringing my own stuff. Miscellaneous items, dirty clothes bag. Bring a trash bag for dirty clothes. I'm extremely organized. I hate going through a bag that has like, you can't tell what's dirty and what's not and stuff, so that's convenient. Obviously you want phone chargers for you and your spouse because you don't know how long you're going to be in labor, and having your phone charged can pass time. You also want your birth plan or your birth packet with you, which I didn't have because, actually, I don't even remember if I put it in there. I may have, but he was so early that I knew that they weren't going to follow it anyways. A camcorder, some sort of recording device, because I wanted my birth to be recorded. I wanted all that stuff to be recorded. We didn't bring the camcorder, but we did have our phones, and, you know, my husband didn't record it. He came so fast, though, so, like, I can't blame him. You know, we both were like, what the heck is happening? For the baby, pacifiers. If you're going to give the baby pacifiers, bring them, but they will provide pacifiers. A going home outfit, a baby blanket, baby socks, baby mittens, a baby hat, onesies or bodysuits. You can also ask the hospital because sometimes they have just standard onesies that you can put the baby in, and burp cloths. So that's about it for the baby. For the husband, he needed lounge pants, so basically something comfortable to wear. Obviously a change of like underwear, comfy shirts, socks, shorts, pants, like clothes to go out in. Razor, his toiletries, so like razor, toothbrush, hair gel, deodorant, a jacket, like a hoodie just in case, because, you know, like I said, hospital rooms are cold. Cologne, because, you know, I'm sure he wanted to smell good too after a certain time. Lotion. My husband has really dry skin, so this is really tailored to my husband specifically. Beanie and hats. Beanie for the hospital room being cold. His phone charger, and movies downloaded on his phone. So that was my hospital bag list. A lot of these things we didn't bring. A lot of these things we brought and didn't end up using. It's all circumstantial. Silas was so early that, like, a lot of these things I'm glad we brought because we were down there for 5 weeks. But so that is the end of this this series of videos. I am still going to be posting my birth story and how it all happened with me. I would prefer if my husband was involved with that, but he may not be. So just stay tuned, and let's see. I hope that helped with you. I hope that helped you guys. I recommend doing research on everything. If you're having a boy, you're going to have to make more decisions. Do research on circumcision. Do research on vaccines. Do research on literally everything that involves you or the baby before, during, and after childbirth. Do research on epidurals, on Pitocin, on C-sections. Watch The Business of Being Born. You can watch it on Amazon. I think you have to pay for it. You can rent it. You can watch it on, you can watch it on Amazon for sure. You just have to rent it. That is a really good thing to watch. I recommend anyone that gets pregnant, watch that. Stop. Another thing I want to go over real fast is I'll probably go over it in the next video. I'm going to talk about breastfeeding and breast milk production. But for now, I'm going to let you guys go because my son is getting extremely impatient with me. And yeah, so bye.